Backlog refinement is supposed to make sprint planning easier, but for many teams, refinement itself becomes the most exhausting meeting of the sprint. The reason is simple. Refinement quietly turns into a design session. You schedule an hour to clarify upcoming work. 40 minutes later, you're debating architecture, comparing frameworks, sketching diagrams, and optimizing solutions. And you still haven't answered the only question refinement exists to answer. Can this fit in a sprint? Design work is not the problem. Good teams design thoughtfully. The problem is timing. Refinement has a specific job. It clarifies scope. What's included, what's not included, what assumptions are we making, what unknowns could dramatically increase scope. Refinement is about reducing sprint-threatening uncertainty, not eliminating all uncertainty. If the team can reasonably believe an item will fit in a sprint, refinement of that item is done. You do not need a finalized design to start work. Teams drift into design for predictable reasons. Uncertainty is uncomfortable, and designing feels productive. It feels like progress. Many engineers have been rewarded their entire careers for solving problems early and thoroughly. So refinement feels like the right time to do that. And sometimes meetings drift simply because no one has clearly defined what refinement is for. If you don't define the purpose of a meeting, it will expand to fill the space. Here's a simple test. During refinement, ask whether the conversation is clarifying scope or optimizing a solution. If you're debating frameworks, refactoring strategies, or architectural trade-offs, you may already be past the level refinement requires. That doesn't mean those discussions are wrong. It means they should happen at the right time. Come back to the threshold question. Do we know enough to believe this item can probably be completed in the sprint? If yes, stop. If no, identify the biggest unknown and resolve that. That question requires enough clarity to commit responsibly, not a perfect design. There's another subtle issue. Some teams assume involving everyone in refinement means discussing everything in front of everyone. I don't think that's necessary. Refinement is about surfacing the majority of important questions, not exhausting every possible one. On many teams, you can involve most, but not all, of the team in a session and still surface the vast majority of issues. You should rotate participation so everyone stays engaged over time without turning every refinement meeting into an exhaustive design review. The goal is not maximal participation, it's sufficient clarity. Over-refinement also happens when teams work too far in advance. They debate design decisions for items several sprints away. By the time the sprint arrives, priorities have shifted or assumptions have changed, and the team has to revisit the discussion. That's wasted effort. Refinement creates the most value when it focuses on the next sprint or two, where clarity directly improves commitment and predictability. Here's a practical guideline. During refinement, stay at the level of scope and risk. Clarify what the story includes and what it does not include. Identify assumptions, surface dependencies, highlight any unknown that could dramatically increase the size of the work. If resolving an unknown requires a short investigation, that may be appropriate. If resolving it requires designing an entire subsystem, you're probably going too far. Over-refinement has real costs. It consumes time, it drains energy, it creates the illusion of certainty, and it reduces adaptability because once a team feels it has thoroughly designed something, it becomes harder to change direction. Lightweight refinement preserves flexibility. The purpose of refinement is not to design the solution. It's to make the work achievable within a sprint. Design continues during the sprint when the team has real context and real feedback. So if your refinement sessions regularly feel too long, technical, and exhausting, tighten the focus. Ask what must be true for this item to fit in a sprint. Answer that and then stop. You don't need certainty. You need enough confidence to commit responsibly. If you'd like a practical checklist to use during backlog refinement, along with a full guide that walks through these ideas in more detail, you'll find links in the description. And I'm curious, On your team, does refinement tend to drift into design, or does it stay focused on scope and readiness?